Hi there, this is Jen Grice from jengrice.com. I am a boundary coach and a Christian divorce mentor. I help women to reclaim their life, learn boundaries, and live in peace before, during, and after divorce. So today I'm going to be talking about pressing your panic button. What I mean by not pressing your panic button is not reacting to somebody else who's reacting and responding in a way that you can feel good about when somebody is pressing your buttons. I talked about narcissism in another video that you can watch. And generally, narcissists and toxic people love to push buttons. Sometimes they're stressed out and they want you to be just as stressed out as they are, or they're blissfully unaware of the negative impact that they can have on those around them. Some people like to create chaos and push others' buttons, and some people just don't know that they're doing it. Either way, they create unnecessary strife and worry and stress in people's lives. They can be nice and manipulative. They can be nasty and manipulative. They can be aloof and withdrawn, or they can be playing the victim and looking for you to join in their pity party. No matter the reason or the case, it's still stressful in our lives. And a lot of times, if you live with somebody like this, especially for a long period of time, you become conditioned to press the panic button with them and to react in the same ways they react. People suck you into their lack of peace in their life. And I talked about reclaiming your peace after divorce. And one of the ways you could do that is to not be manipulated into getting into conversations that take away your peace. Having boundaries is saying, I will not participate with this. When you can talk to me as calmly as I am talking to you right now, then we can finish this conversation. And until then, I'm going to walk away. I'm on Facebook and in groups, but even here on YouTube, everyone seems to press the panic button if someone says something that triggers them. I have seen people leave comments on my own videos that were very nasty and negative, sometimes before they even watch the video, and it happens. But I choose how I react or respond or don't respond to those comments. A lot of times, the people that are saying and commenting such negative things, they're not trying to understand what me or anyone on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever is trying to say. They just panic and start accusing the other person of things that might not be true. Or someone asks a question, yet doesn't like the answers or choices that people are giving them. And so they react with anger. And they assume that somebody's saying something when they're not. I wonder what would happen if we all just stopped expecting that everyone is going to do, say, or be how we want them to be. That they're going to be how they are. That, for me, has made my life a lot easier to live and live in peace, because I expect that there's going to be people out there that are going to respond negatively no matter what I say or how I say it. I can say things in the nicest possible way, and somebody's going to react. So if I expect that's going to happen, I'm not hurt or angered when it does. Another thing I do is I turn off comments on when I post a question or something in a Facebook group, and especially if I have control over the comments. If it's not going how I want it to go and it's starting to steal my peace, I turn off the comments. I don't have to participate in a conversation that is not serving me and that is stealing my peace and my joy in my life. If I'm triggering people by what I've said, I'm not responsible for what they're feeling, especially if my motive to post the comment or ask a question was to serve myself in some way, to get information that I would like. And if they are triggered by that, that responsibility lies solely on them for not trying to understand. I understand that abuse victims often suffer from PTSD from being around abusers so long. And I think, we too, as victims, we need to reclaim our life because we have handed over that power to somebody else. And as much as we can have symptoms and stress and triggers, we can control them and not let them control us. Having PTSD or other issues never justifies how we act, react, or behave in our homes or in public. We are not powerless to how we act or behave, or even what's going on in our heads. We are told to take our thoughts captive and teach them to obey Christ in 2 Corinthians 10:5. When we panic and forget that we actually have control over our minds, we let our minds run wild. But when we decide that we're not going to allow our brains to go down that path, we actually can control how we think and feel in most given circumstances. If someone calls you a name or says something about you, you have a choice in how you will respond or react. I believe it's only true and then bothers you if you believe it about yourself. For example, for a very long time, people in my life called me controlling. Maybe some still do. But when I dug deeper into why I let that bother me, I realized that, one, it wasn't true about myself, and two, I didn't have to let it bother me. When I started to analyze if I was in fact controlling, I found that the people in my life who were calling me controlling were sinning against me by lying or cheating, most times to my face or in front of my face, and gaslighting me to believe that I was the problem. So saying I was controlling was a tactic they were using to get away with, one, controlling the situation, and two, sinning against me. Me setting limits with those people to not allow them to continue to sin against me, letting them know I won't allow it, or I will leave, or you will leave if you continue to do whatever sin or illegal act that they were doing, is very normal, healthy boundaries. I think unhealthy, toxic, or narcissistic people are so used to people covering for their behaviors that they will do anything, call you names, emotionally or physically abuse you, and whatever else it takes to manipulate you to get their way or control your actions, like calling me controlling. Those are the controllers in the world, though. Not me, not the person with healthy limits and boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling somebody else. They're about what you will and will not accept your life. And of course, boundary pushers don't like people with boundaries because they have limits and they don't allow themselves to be manipulated and used. So in boundaries, we learn about what you do and do not have control over. What is your responsibility and what is not? If you allow yourself to be triggered by everything, what someone says or how they say it, then you'll be tossed around in the wind believing every feeling and emotion you have. It's not to say that you can't have feelings or emotions. You should, and you should listen to them. But don't let your thoughts, right or wrong, control you and how you live your life every day. And keeping those feelings and emotions bottled up inside and not dealing with them will lead to resentment, which is a lack of boundaries, which continues the destructive, unhealthy relationship. You need to process emotional and physical threats while also knowing when there is no threat or need for such a reaction. Know if somebody's safe or if they are, in fact, trying to push your buttons. I've seen it in women that I'm trying to mentor. They will react when I tell them the truth about a situation. Not because they think that I am a horrible person, but they're so used to pushing that panic button when they hear any little phrase or word that they react. I think it's a phase as well as that women who are recovering go through, that they react to so many things. Part of the healing is taking those thoughts captive, deciding if there is in fact a threat and if this person can be trusted, if they're seriously trying to help you or they're trying to hurt you. Because not everybody's toxic and not everybody's trying to hurt you. And that's why I say don't push the panic button. Really decide if this is the right time, if your feelings are accurate, and what you should do about it. Another thing I have seen when coaching women is that they often explain themselves. This is something I have struggled with myself, knowing that I was required to explain every little thing that I did or said because somebody was pressing the panic button and their level of stress was up here and they wanted me to come up there with them. And so I would often have to explain, like, well, why did you say that? Well, let me explain. This is why I said that. Or why do you think that way? Or why do you feel that way? Or why do you speak that way? I got to the point where I was so used to over explaining every little thing that I did. I took that with me after my divorce. And I explained things to people, and people did not want to hear every little detail of me explaining all the things that were going on in my head. But it was me processing out loud. Lucky for me, a lot of the people that were closest to me understood what I was doing. They understood that I was processing all the thoughts in my head. And once I was able to process them, I was able to stop explaining myself so much. So when I talk about pressing the panic button, I mean emotional response to a trigger. But we need to know who's in control. You are. You're in control. So what can we do? We can set limits. When you don't join someone who's reacting, you feel peace within yourself as the peacemaker rather than the peacekeeper. Don't get sucked into anyone's negative emotional spiral. I read a perfect example on a psychological website just recently, and they were talking about you wouldn't sit in close proximity to a smoker, unless you're a smoker, but if you're not, you wouldn't sit and breathe in someone's secondhand smoke because you wanted to show them that you cared and wanted to help. You'd say, I'll talk to you when you're not smoking. So the same needs to go with emotional behavior. If somebody is toxic and causes you to lack your peace in your life, causes you to react in such ways just like they do, then you need to set limits. I will talk to you when you're calm. I will not be manipulated by you. I'm going to walk away now. And I stated, I think before, and if I didn't, I'll state it again, that boundaries are words first, action second. You don't just walk away, you let them know my limit is I will not be around you when you're toxic. I will not be around you when you're smoking. Same thing. Next, check your own feelings about the subject. In what ways are your actions or reaction caused by unhealthy thoughts or feelings about yourself? If I still believed I was controlling and hadn't processed through that and replaced truth with lies, then if I met a new person and they were joking around for some reason and said, you're controlling, I do like things so-so, I like to have a clean house, those are my preferences. Does that make me controlling? No. It is my house and I want it to be clean. I don't want to live in filth and be a hoarder. But doesn't make me controlling if that's how I want to live, if that's my preference for how I want to live. So if somebody joking around said that, and I hadn't healed that, I might react or respond in a way that's not healthy, blaming the other person for saying such things when they didn't mean it that way. If I wasn't healed, I might believe that they're using the same tactic as other people had in my past. And that's why we need to heal our heart after divorce, because you don't want to get in the same kind of dysfunctional cycle, marrying somebody or responding to somebody by the baggage you bring into it. So we can't stop someone from pushing our buttons or trying to get us to panic. And if that's what they've done for X amount of years, you're just going to have to expect that that's what they're going to do for the next X amount of years. They're not going to change. Or maybe you don't even mean to be triggered by words or phrases, but we can have control over how we react and how we respond. We can choose to maintain control. We can choose to invest the time into finding out the reason they said that or why they believe that, or we can run. And running is just a reaction if we're doing so before finding out if we actually have a reason to run. Because like I said earlier, not all people are toxic. We just need to know the difference before we react. So set boundaries with people from the beginning. because all healthy relationships have boundaries. And don't quit just because you get married or live in the same house with them. Boundaries are necessary for every relationship, and those who care about you will appreciate you and your boundaries. And part of boundaries is processing things before responding, because if you don't, that's when you usually react. So if you have any questions about boundaries, or not reacting when somebody else is reacting, or not reacting in improper ways, please leave a comment or go to my website, sign up for my email list, and you can reply to one of my emails. If you're looking for coaching, I offer coaching on my website, jengrice.com/coaching. I hope this video was educational for you, and I hope to see you in the next video. More boundary videos coming soon.